Hello there, this is Daniele from Toolchefs and welcome to this new video. In this video we're going to have a look at how you can create materials at runtime using the new variation workflow in Atom 6. In my scene I've already created a proxy with the rendering create Arnold procedural tool, and then here I provided a cache path and a variation JSON, and this is basically what I ended up with. So it's important to know that in Houdini the proxy works differently than Maya. So in Maya we can also, if whenever we render we don't specify a variation path, then we're gonna fall back to the variation JSON that is stored in the scene. But in Houdini you always have to provide the variation JSON here in the variation path. So that's what I've done, and I've also copied this is the same Atoms agents Arnold variation JSON file. I just copied it into another location because we're gonna need to modify it. Also I created a light so we can see something when we render. So first thing, let's create a new material. I'm gonna go in the variation manager, select the man. In the material I'm gonna create a new material. I'm gonna call it t-shirt. I'm gonna filter all the t-shirts here. So as you can see, one of the first things that probably you've seen already is that here this item before was just called preview, now it's called preview/render. What this means is that whenever Atoms is not able to find a material file like we have here for all the other materials, then it will fall back to the values that you provide here in this section for rendering that material for whenever it's assigned to a geo. So here we can provide like one or more diffuse slots. So each diffuse slots contain a color and a path to a diffuse map. Then the diffuse weight, we can provide two metadata names for driving which slot we want to use, and also the hue for the diffuse, a specular color and a specular map, and also a normal map. So here let me copy the, I'm just gonna copy some of these diffuse maps. So on preview diffuse, I'm gonna use the maybe white like this. Then I'm gonna go in the tree, and what I want to do is basically here we are using the casual summer variation type. So here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a material constraint, a material override, and in the materials I'm gonna pick the t-shirt. I'm gonna drag and drop it in here. So all the t-shirts now will use this new material that we have created. So I'm gonna save this one to disk there. And here I'm going to just remove it for a second and then reset it. In this way basically we are telling Atoms to reload the variations. So here we see we have all the t-shirts are now black, and this is because we're using the first diffuse slot. It's important to understand that in the preview we always use the first diffuse slot, so you won't be able to see the changes here. But you can see them at render time. So here if I go render view and I do render, we see they're all black now. Here I can go in the agent metadata and we could change the diffuse slot for maybe 3 agents like this. I think it was called diffuse slot. Actually, you know what? I don't even think I set that. Let me remove this thing for now. Yeah, exactly. So let's call this one diffuse slot and this one diffuse hue. I need to save this one again. Save to disk there. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me close this one. If I render, it should be the same. Cool, so I can do now 10, 12, diffuse slot. The value is gonna be 1. So with this, in this way, we are saying I want the agents with the ID between 10 and 12 to have to use the diffuse slot at index 1. So I'm gonna do this. and we see actually these three agents, they have the white t-shirt. So one other thing that we can do is we can change the hue. I'm gonna need again to change the variation JSON because we can't change the hue of black and white. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna remove these maps, and I'm gonna assign two colors, like red and maybe green, something like this. I'm gonna save this one, save to disk again. And now what I can do, I can say I want to change the diffuse for, well, let's say for all the agents, diffuse hue. The value should be, let's say 100. For Arnold, the valid range is between 0 and 360. Whenever you create these metadatas during your simulation, always check which type they should be, and this will be listed in the documentation. So yeah, again, for each render engine they might change, so please check the documentation. So you don't really need to, you can override them here at render time on the proxy directly, but otherwise you can even set these metadatas directly on the simulation and then cache them out. So if I do render, we see, so we have, these guys are green, all of them, they have a different diffuse. Sorry, they have a diffuse hue at 100. If I say maybe, let's say, so that makes a bit more sense, 11 to 14, something like this. Oh, no, sorry, wrong value, like this, should be like this. So render. So we see we have just these, yeah, I believe that are these four, which they have the diffuse hue set to 100. And this is all for this video. Thanks for watching.